online, on the TuneIn app, and on your smart speaker. Play Shock Radio.
This is Shock
News.
Hello, welcome to the Shock News podcast on Wednesday the 28th of January. I'm Alfie Garner. Today I'm joined by Sophie Milligan and Ben Formosa. And an interesting one to start today's podcast, a light-hearted political one for once. So it's only just come out in the last few hours, hasn't it?
Yeah. So Keir Starmer has been making fun of Emmanuel Macron on stage at a comedy gig. So Keir Starmer posted a TikTok yesterday with being handed a pair of aviator sunglasses, and he put them on and said bonjour into the mic. And tagged Emmanuel Macron, which I think that's a bit wild. But he put the caption "Talk to me, Goose," referencing Top Gun, and Emmanuel Macron replied and said "for sure." So Keir Starmer replied with an AI-generated picture of them two as Top Gun characters with the aviator sunglasses.
It does look very realistic for an AI, which is concerning.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Ben.
Hi.
These sort of stories we don't get often. A funny political story where two world leaders are making fun of each other. Is there a space for this sort of content? And should we encourage more of it?
I mean, it's kind of light-hearted, I suppose, but you've got to think of it like these are supposed to be serious people who especially, this is another separate debate when you think about AI, but they're supposed to be people of confidence. So I suppose it's kind of fun that they're having a bit of a light-hearted moment, but maybe they should also be a bit more serious. And then when they're including things like AI, you have to be sensible because are you pro AI regulation or you are not? And like, if you are, then you can't then be posting these fun AI memes essentially.
Yeah, it comes out also at a time where recently Keir Starmer's been very on the toes of the likes of Elon Musk, whose Grok X's AI has been quite, for Keir Starmer's sake, quite rightly going against it due to its the content it's putting out. But now do you think this is now encouraging this sort of content, this AI-generated content, to maybe for Elon Musk to now go back and say, actually, you're making the content, you're using AI to make the content, how are you now going to sort of go against me and my platform?
It is quite hypocritical, you could argue. It's a thing that people like Donald Trump do a lot, posting these AI pictures, which usually have some form of agenda associated with them. And with this, you could argue it's the agenda of Britain and France being best friends, even though he's kind of making fun of them. But in the picture, like it's Macron and Starmer with these like planes, RAF planes. It's supposed to be like quite, I'd say, partnery. So yeah, you could argue it's quite hypocritical.
Yeah. It's very Top Gunning style. It's very Top Gun style movie poster of President Macron and Keir Starmer as if they were main characters. Yeah. But I just thought of this. Who would play Keir Starmer and President Macron in a Top Gun? So, what do you think?
What? So, like, which characters would they be?
Yeah, like, what? Either what characters or what actors would play them?
I feel like I haven't watched Top Gun in ages. Genuinely, I don't think I watched Maverick, but I feel like Keir Starmer kind of has like a Tom Cruise look about him, but not in like Keir Starmer seems like the kind of guy that would do his own stunts.
Do you think? That's interesting.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's quite interesting.
But fail at them.
Oh yeah. Okay.
What about Macron? Before we move on.
See, I don't know Top Gun like that. I don't. Any actor.
Who would play Macron?
Who's French? It's only French actors.
There's probably quite a few French actors.
I don't know. Who would?
Hard.
How about I let you think about it,
and we'll come back.
And we'll come back to it with the entertainment.
Oh yes.
How about that? Let's move on to the main story today, which is Andy Burnham being blocked by the National Executive Committee of the Labour Party for running as MP of Gorton and Denton. It happened over the weekend. The NEC is a group of people within the Labour Party who make the big Labour Party decisions. So during conference, they'll make a lot of the policy decisions. It was blocked by select members, 9 of them, and Andy Burnham decision came as a loss, 8-1. What does this mean for Andy Burnham, but also the Labour Party as a whole?
I think Keir Starmer obviously seemed very threatened by the idea of Andy Burnham potentially becoming Prime Minister. But I think as people who live in Greater Manchester right now, I think it's a good thing for us because it means that obviously all the stuff that Burnham's doing with the B network, funding, stuff like that, I think that is really good. Like, he's in even B trains, he wants to bring in B boats, which is
a brilliant idea.
like, it's kind of crazy. But it is good because, like, I work in central Manchester and I then have to get the tram back on match days, which is what they want to bring in the B boats for. Mm-hmm. It is hell out there. Like, it's really bad. But yeah, I think it is a positive for Greater Manchester, but for the UK as a whole, I think what Andy Burnham could do with the powers of Prime Minister, like, he would be a successful Prime Minister.
Yeah, definitely. He would be a really good Prime Minister. But then it's also the argument of if he had won the by-election in the future, do you think he actually would have become Prime Minister? Do you think Keir Starmer either himself would have allowed that, or do you think his allies would have allowed that to happen?
Well, that's the thing. That's the whole argument people are making now, is you can see why he's running to be MP. He wants to be back in Westminster. Whether or not he wants to be Prime Minister is a different tale. Many say he does want to be Labour leader again at some point. But at the moment, he wants to be back in Westminster. He was in Westminster for 16 years before he became Mayor of Greater Manchester. He gave up being an MP to do it. But it's also a case of, many people argue that Andy Burnham is a lot more popular than Keir Starmer is.
Yeah.
For the sake of the Labour Party in itself, for Keir Starmer to then go alongside the NEC, Keir Starmer being one of the members of the deciding board, for him to then say, we don't want Andy Burnham for many reasons, do you think it makes Andy Burnham look, not Andy Burnham, the Labour Party and Keir Starmer as a whole look weak for making these sort of decisions that sometimes seem rash?
It's not a good look, all things considered, that they've decided to block the most likely opponent to Keir Starmer, and that the people who made that decision were supposed Keir Starmer loyalists and Keir Starmer himself. He has basically actively chose, like, you can abstain in these votes. He could have chose not to say anything. He himself has made the decision that he doesn't want Burnham to be anywhere near his position. So it doesn't look great.
No.
I just think it could have, like, the risk of him going for MP is then, like you said before, the fact that he might not then become Prime Minister, and it's like, has he wasted, like, the fact that he had power in Manchester to then drop down to just an MP role, which obviously he wouldn't have as much, because, like, he's got the police and crime commissioner role as well. He's got, which obviously that's why he had to step down. He would have to step down as mayor, so he wouldn't be able to do that anymore. Which, but like I said before, I do think they felt threatened by him.
Well, in his bid to become MP, this is why he bidded to the NEC. He said that I can't do everything I want to do just as Mayor of Greater Manchester. I need to be at a national level to allow legislation to go through so things can happen for Greater Manchester. But he says this at a time where he's done a lot for Greater Manchester in its sort of improvement to become one of the biggest cities in the UK and the biggest regions in the UK. Does that make him seem like not only is he restricted, but also then he's not finding the ways that he could possibly become that force and get that legislation within Greater Manchester and make the changes?
That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, like, as you were saying, like, he does have a lot of power as Mayor of Greater Manchester. Like, this was a Labour thing, but, like, devolution, he has the power over the public transport, I mean, I don't know. I can't say exactly the funding structure, but I do believe that he has a lot of say over how the money is spent. So he does have a lot of power to make those changes, I'd argue, where he is. I understand what he's trying to say, but the problem is with him saying, I'm going to go become MP and then try and make the changes in Westminster, that implies to me that he thinks he's going to have significant power in Westminster. But if you're just one MP and you happen to say something which the 360 odd other MPs don't agree with, then you can't make that change.
Yeah.
I think as well, the fact that he's not then running as an MP, you then end up with like a lesser known Labour candidate, which I feel like, because you have obviously like, I don't want to like say the main character, but you know what I mean when I say it like that. The main ones of most well known of like all the parties, and for Labour, obviously Andy Burnham, like more recently, is up there with what he's done for Manchester. So you could end up with someone that people don't really know their views or what they want to do, like where exactly on the political scale that they line with. Who is then wanting to run for Prime Minister, and you could end up with like people voting him in and then regretting it, like has happened in the past.
Yeah. Well, for many of the Labour MPs who saw this decision, 50 have submitted a letter to Keir Starmer, but also to the NEC, saying that they should reverse the decision. Some are saying that it should be made by the local Labour Party rather than the parliamentary Labour Party, which is usually what happens in these sort of elections. The reason why the NEC got involved in this was because how big of a name Andy Burnham is within the Labour Party, but also because he already has a role within Labour and frontline politics. So usually it goes through the local Labour Party, who decides who they want their candidate, and then it gets vetted by the NEC. By the sounds of it, it's been skipped through the local Labour. It's now just being decided by the NEC. It comes at a point where locally people are wanting that change that Keir Starmer promised 2 years ago, but they're not seeing it. Do you think that with Andy Burnham, if the NEC decision was to be reversed and Andy Burnham was to be MP, would he be able to target his support on Gorton and Denton through the Westminster powers that he might have?
It is a tough, again, like the whole situation is just like, I think you should just let the man do what he wants to do, pretty much. Like if I was an MP, if I was Prime Minister, that would be my attitude. But it's just like, but in a way it does also stop the fact that you'd have to re-elect a new mayor, because you'd then have to go through the whole process of 2 elections in one, if that makes sense, because you'd have Andy Burnham stepping down and then you'd have to find a new mayor, which Andy Burnham did say that mayoral election would have the full support of that. But
something that's been kind of thrown around with that though as well is that the idea that if Andy Burnham had to leave his post as mayor, that there's the possibility that Reform or another party could take over as mayor, but there's also no definite chance that would happen either. Andy Burnham in the last election won significantly. Now that might be to do because of Labour, that might be to do because of him, but it wasn't just like he won a bit. He won significantly times more than the previous, the second most popular. So there is the possibility that he could have become MP. Labour would have secured that seat, and Labour would have kept a mayor. Now it might have not benefited the people of Manchester the same way that Andy Burnham is able to, but they still would have had that place. With regards to Keir Starmer and his policies on change, it comes down to that debate on whether Keir Starmer ran as an anti-Tory party or as this change thing that he supposedly claims that he wanted to do, which now people saying, well, where is that change?
Yeah, well, you said it there that for this by-election, it's not going to be just Labour. People are predicting that it possibly could be Reform. And Reform announced earlier this week that their candidate is someone called Matt Goodwin. He's a political commentator who regularly appears on Sky News and GB News. And he was announced by Leah Anderson earlier this week, about 2:00 on Tuesday. What?
Well, they did it in the wrong place. So they've been stood outside a building in Audenshaw, which is in Ashton-under-Lyne, which is Angela Rayner's constituency, with promoting to vote for reform, but you're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Like, but go down the road, get to Levenshulme, take Francis back to Gorton. Like,
that's the direction.
Also, but Reform aren't the only people that have done that, because the Green Party spelled Gorton wrong.
Well, that's the thing.
Good luck.
So it's like, do they even want the seat? Like,
yesterday, Lee Anderson, before he announced Matt, said that it was a straight race between Reform, Labour potentially, and the Greens. Many polling also suggests quite similar. But when you talk to the people in the constituency, many are saying that Reform or Greens. They're not saying Labour. They are not saying they want the Labour Party back in. And it goes back to this argument, has Sir Keir Starmer shot himself in the foot? Because now this election is not going to just be seen as who's going to replace Andrew Gwynn, who was the previous MP. It's now going to be made into an argument. Is Sir Keir Starmer failing at his job? And that's what people are arguing.
yeah. Well, even George Galloway, they're saying, could be a competitor, which him and his heart. Watch out, Gorton. That's
It's quite interesting that Labour was at a point when they won in 2024. That's right, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, 2024, where they literally controlled everything. They had most of England was Labour. They had one of the biggest, second biggest land size in Tony Blair for the Labour Party. They had the mayorships of many, many different places, including Manchester, including London, the biggest cities in the country. And he had the power to do anything he wanted, really. And yet here we are, and the question is now whether these smaller parties, who no one really thought about 2 years ago, are now going to take his championship from him. Yeah,
well, Matt is a former student of Salford. He has a BA in Politics and Contemporary History from the University of Salford. In his speech, when he accepted invitation and at the press conference, he said that he grew up in Manchester. Manchester is his home, for many as well. He referenced his degree from Salford. He said his parents worked for the university as well. Do you think his mission now to get elected in Gorton is not here's my policies, it's here's how we are better? Is that going to be his challenge to convince people within Gorton?
Yeah, and especially with the whole, like as you just said, like he said, like his parents being with the University of Salford, he's got a degree here. It's obviously he's trying to be like relatable and local to people, which, like, but you've got that back to Andy Burnham. You've got that with Andy Burnham. Like he knows what, like, the people want, but it's just, I think everyone's views are split at the minute. Like, I don't even think the politicians really know what's like, because you just can't predict anything that's going to happen, like, with the next election.
He is trying to be down to earth, but then Burnham has, as we've discussed, a lot of experience. He's been in the shadow cabinet. He's been mayor for this is his third term now, which means that not only has he got all this experience, he's been successful at that experience. He's basically a surefire win for Labour if they ran him. And like you said, he's got that down to earth. So both of the factors are with Labour if you have Burnham as the candidate.
Yeah. Well, Matt isn't new to politics. He is a commentator on the Conservative side. He's an activist, a political scientist, and is also the honorary president of Students for Reform, which is their youth wing of the Reform UK. So he has experience within reform and also within politics. Do you think that's going to hinder his chances or potentially benefit his chances? Because Gorton is not a student city. Gorton is not a city. It's mostly sort middle-aged people who live in Gorton, people with families, people with
Yeah.
sort of houses, they want as much support as they can. Do you think that's going to help the fact that he's all doing so many jobs almost?
See, I don't. I hate saying I don't really know, but like I said, you just can't really predict, because it was like with the last general election, like everyone was like, oh, it's fine, reform won't actually be that successful, and they have been successful, maybe not in the right ways, like they've not executed their ideas well, but like they have been successful. They've managed to get a lot of supporters, which I think if they do it right, they could. Do you know? Like I don't know how to explain it without being like.
Get what you mean?
Yeah.
Get what you mean?
Yeah, and reform, it's the tactic of running controversial people. So there's a difference between. I understand that every politician is controversial technically, like because everyone disagrees with different things.
Yeah.
But Burnham has done it in a usual way. You know, he's a politician, so he says what he believes and he campaigns for it. Whereas the reform candidate is an activist, which is different.
Yeah.
Because an activist goes out and, I'd argue, right or wrong, gets in the way and demands the change. And in the modern world, that often happens on like Twitter or X or social media. So it's controversial candidates that people are either going to be like, well, I free speech, I can say what I want. He's my free speech candidate, which might be relevant to an older population, but it's also going to alienate a lot of people.
Yeah, and just to add context to this, the whole reason why this by-election is taking place is because Andrew Goodwin resigned earlier last week due to health issues. He previously had to suspend his Labour whip due to a WhatsApp scandal that happened about a year and a half ago. He ran Gorton under independent. Now he doesn't want to be in politics due to some health reasons. Let's stay on reform for a little bit longer, because earlier this week, Suella Braverman also defected to Reform UK. She said she was introduced by Nigel Farage in a rally in London. This is the story itself of Labour MPs defecting to Reform is starting to become normal. So that's not the big important thing here. It's what it says about the Tories as a party. Are they toast? Are we about to see Tory toast sitting in the House of Commons as the opposition, as Kemi Badenoch has to try and control her party now with so many defecting to Reform?
It is a problem, and you've seen Kemi Badenoch. This is what happened with Robert Jenrick. She started to purge what she would call traitors of the Tory party. She started to get rid of them. So maybe that will lead to an influx of people deciding, well, you know what, I'm going to jump ship now before she calls me out. So that could lead to a devastating impact for the Tories if they find out that a lot more people than they expected have decided don't want to be a part of that anymore.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are disappointed with Suella Braverman, not just for joining Reform, but for lying, because there's been a resurfaced video from her on GB News in 2024 where she was asked if she'd ever join Reform, and she said no. And it's like, well, you've done it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just...
And so this is a somewhat big name for Reform. She's a previous Home Secretary. She was really big on the Rwanda plan. She was really on it with, or trying to be on it with stopping the boats, as some would see it. For people on the right, as many are in Reform UK, this is one of the biggest defections they've had after Robert Jenrick, because it says to them, it sends a message to the Tories saying, we can't trust you on a lot of things now, we're moving to Reform. But for Reform, they've now got big names that they can rely on when it comes to campaigning, either in by-elections but also in 2029. Because at the moment, the odds are so in their favour for winning 2029. It's not a good look for the Tories. It's not a good look for Labour. Realistically, right now, Reform have this chance because they've got so many political Tories moving past. That could also hinder them, couldn't it?
Yeah, well, Labour have said that it's proved that Nigel Farage is stuffing his party full of the failed Tories. And then the Tories have said that the move was always a matter of when, not if. Which I think that's kind of that's just saying, oh yeah, we never had any faith in what the Tories, in what their own party could do. Especially with Suella Braverman, she said that she's resigning and with her party membership of 30 years as well. And it's to be with a party for 30 years to then just be like, oh, actually, everyone else is doing it, so why not I? It is quite not the sheep mindset, I want to say. Do you know what I mean? It's oh, everyone else is doing it. She also said that she felt like she'd come home when she joined Reform, which that's what?
It's when people join Reform who have had 30 years, as you said.
Yeah.
A lot of people see it in different ways. A lot of Reform voters will see that as you're a really, really dedicated person, but you've decided right now the Tories aren't working, I'm going to join Reform. But other people on the left would argue that Reform is exactly the same as the Tories, slightly worse, and you've just decided to do that to save your career, basically. Yeah. But then I'd say that probably comes into the big divisive thing that's happening at the moment all over the world, is that you can look at the exact same situation and see it in a billion different ways, and it causes these arguments.
Yeah. Labour have used this quite widely as part of their advertising now, to be able to go, it's just the same. It is just the same. On Instagram, all I'm seeing at the moment is them posting the same phrase of rehash UK instead of Reform UK to say it's the same people. It's starting to now give Labour an opportunity to say, you're not doing anything new, you're just getting the same people who would have been top dogs in the Tories, but in your party.
Yeah, well, because Reform obviously have the idea that Britain is broken, and Suella Braverman said that as well. She said at her, when it was announced, she was like, oh yeah, Britain is actually broken, which it just doesn't, it's not a good look for the Tories when it's they're just moving just because it's they're oh, actually I've changed my mind on what I feel, which, yeah.
But Labour are just, you could argue, rehashing the same tactic they did 2 years ago. If the Tories are bad, vote for us, we do better, or we offer something different. So now they're saying Reform are the same as the Tories, we offer something different. But the difference is now Labour can actually make that change. So I would argue that it's not going to have the same effect, potentially, that it did 2 years ago.
Well, let's take a breather from politics. The world of politics, as entertaining as it is, there's a lot different entertaining news. This week saw the BAFTA nominations get announced. So tell us all about them, please.
This is my general election. This is my general.
This is Sophie Milligan.
Yeah. So BAFTA nominees were announced yesterday, the 27th of February. Sorry. As a film student, this is my moment. So, for the best film, it was Hamnet, Mighty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. Have you guys watched either of them?
I've heard a lot about Sinners. I have heard a lot about Sinners. It seems to be a really good film.
Sinners is doing, to answer your question, no. Sinners is doing quite well. Sinners was, sorry, I'm just giving facts. Sinners was Ryan Coogler, yes?
Yeah.
Who did Black Panther, yeah. Cool, carry on. Sorry, I had to say that.
Yeah, because it's done very well, critically. My issue was, it was good, and I can see why critics enjoyed it, but it was 2.5 hours long, and the action didn't happen until 20 minutes before the end. Yeah. and I don't have a very good attention span. So I was
That
just
TikTok attention span is
TikTok-
ruining us all.
Yeah, sometimes I put things down and hold the side of my screen down, and it's like to get it in 2 times speed, and it just doesn't happen. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But
no.
Gonna need to start putting in cinemas, have the film in one screen and then just on a separate screen
TikTok.
having
The
Subway
vertical.
Surfers, just a Subway Surfers stream ready to go.
well, because Michael B. Jordan played twins in it, so he was 2 characters. So he has also been nominated for Best Actor.
For which character?
Both of them.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's
I know.
interesting.
But only 1 nomination, which he could have got 2. I don't know.
That's what I mean. Could you not got but 1 for each?
Michael A. Jordan and Michael. Wait, is there someone
There's
called
a Michael B. Jordan, isn't there?
He is
Yes.
Michael B. Jordan.
Oh.
Michael B. Jordan and Michael C. Jordan. There we
There
go.
you
That's a better joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was nominated alongside Robert Aramayo for I Swear, which that is a really good film, really good British film. Timothée Chalamet for Marty Supreme, again, great film. Leo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another. Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon, obviously Michael B. Jordan. And then Jesse Plemons for Bugonia, which Paul Mescal's been snubbed. Like, oh wait, sorry, no. I stand corrected. Paul Mescal has been nominated for supporting actor, which I like that, putting the women first, because
Yes.
Jessie Buckley has been nominated for lead actress. I watched Hamnet last week. I sobbed the entire time. Peter Barlow from Coronation Street was sat next to me. Yeah.
What?
Floor
Yeah.
drop.
What? Yeah, that's a bit of a.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting
Just
that.
he walked in and sat down next to me. I was like, oh my god, it's Peter Barlow. But
Did you say hi?
no, he got up
This
and
is an
left straight away.
exclusive on the Shock News
Exclusive.
show.
Chris Gascoigne
Dude.
loves Hamnet. But yeah, that it was.
Confirmed.
Yeah, it was a really good film. I cried the entire time. Jessie Buckley is amazing. Paul Mescal, amazing. It was just, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, Marty Supreme. Have you guys watched Marty Supreme?
No.
But it's trending. Come
I've
on,
been too
guys.
busy doing the news.
Yeah, we're too busy on the news show.
Sorry. That was a really good film. But Josh Safdie is a really good director anyways. Have you watched Uncut Gems?
No.
Have you watched Uncut Gems? Who are
This is
these?
great.
Who are these people?
Who decided to do an
Sorry.
Me.
I'm so sorry.
Wait, I've seen 28 Years Later, which was.
Okay, yeah, that's nominated. We'll go.
Yeah.
Should we go for that? I haven't, but
Oh,
Tell us what it's about, Ben.
Ralph Fiennes is in it, isn't he?
yes, he is. It's about like so there's these people on this island, and if they leave the island, there's like zombie things. So this boy, to find, I think it's his mum, sneaks off the island, and then the dad has to come and find the little boy. It's very good.
Is 28 Years Later the one that came out last year, or is
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because then they've just released the Bone Temple as well.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Which
Because
haven't
I've watched 28 Days Later, the
seen. Yeah,
original.
the
Cillian
OG.
Murphy.
Yeah.
It's Danny Boyle. I love Danny Boyle. And then British film, we've got 28 Years Later, The Ballad of Wallace Island, Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy, which feels like it came out ages ago.
That does feel like it came out ages ago.
But no, it was only last year. It'll have been because it'll have come out just as the cut-off.
Yeah.
Because it's like the cut-off is like January, and I think it came out February last year. So it'll have come out before the last BAFTAs,
yeah.
but the cut-off.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Die My Love, H is for Hawk, Hamnet, I Swear, Mr. Burton, Pillion, and Steve. I Swear is a really good British independent film. It's a true story about a boy with Tourette's, and it's like his life and stuff. My parents watched it. They said it was really good. I haven't watched it. I need to watch these films. As a film student,
The
I'm
Milligans
failing.
like it though.
Yeah, the
And
Milligans.
that's all that
The
matters.
Milligans
Yeah.
like it.
But yeah, we've just got
So many
like,
noms.
it's been a great year for film. Like it just has.
What a great year. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you both.
Of course.
That's been the Shock News podcast with me, Alfie Garner, Sophie Milligan, and Ben Formosa. It's been produced and vision mixed and teched by Elliot Hartley. We'll be back next week. Bye bye.